don't know how you guys can fist pump at a time like this, or maybe it's just that reality is here and it's over.
It's Christmas. It's Christmas time, you know?
It was just nice to watch the greatest McCarthy to ever step foot in AT&T Stadium.
Most
yesterday.
wonderful time of the year, boy. You're going to lose that one.
3 weeks left.
Oh, no, I'm not.
3 weeks left with an extra game in the regular season. Knowing that the Dallas Cowboys are unofficially done, a 1% chance Philly would have to lose all their games, and the Cowboys would have to win all of ours. Did you vote in my poll question last week when I asked what's more likely to happen? The Cowboys winning out, the Eagles losing 2, or both are going to happen? The Cowboys are getting in and winning the East, as RJ Choppy predicted?
I think I did vote, and I can't remember what I voted, though. Now I'm scrolling back and trying to find it now.
Well, what did you think? And then that will tell us what you voted.
Well, that's the thing. It's not like I think I remember voting on a poll of yours last week, but I don't remember.
All right, well, just answer it now. What would you have thought? The Cowboys win out or the Eagles losing 2? More likely.
The Cowboys winning out is what I would have said, but that was wrong.
Are you nervous about our bet now?
No.
You say it with such confidence.
Yeah, I mean, I've lost. There's nothing to be nervous about.
Is it over?
They're going to lose to the Chargers.
Okay, well, it's not over.
Well, I mean, so they also could still make the playoffs, Sean.
It was 8 or 9 wins.
No, it was 9. I said they would go minimum 9-7, 9-7-1.
They have 3 games left, 2 against the NFC East.
I know, but I saw that team yesterday and last week. They're going to lose to the Chargers. But they've been installed as 1.5-point favorites to open, which is stunning to me.
The Cowboys?
Yeah.
It's in Arlington.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you want to weigh in on shoddy conservative play calling or what Bobby was talking about?
Look, I'm not a huge fan of field goals. You know, I obviously if it's 4th and 11, go for it. To me, a 4th and 3, a 4th and 4, those are must goes, and those are not. I hate the try to draw them off sides stuff. I just don't like that. It never works. I mean, it works for Aaron Rodgers. In his prime, you know.
There's also, with this defense, it's not just a question of going for it. With this defense, it is also a question of, would you rather kick that 50-yarder to go up, or that 60-yarder to go up 3, try that 60-yarder, or would you rather punt and pin them?
Yeah, I mean, and also
with this defense, that's a question I would not normally ask of a team, but with this defense, I would. Going
from 3 to 6 points up, there's not really an advantage there because, again, they had scored 17 in the first half. So I just always assume teams are gonna match their second half, right? You know, if you allow 17 in 24 minutes, chances are it's likely that you're going to allow 17 in the next 24 minutes. Obviously, possessions, if you don't have the kickoff, if you do have the kickoff, changes things. But, I think he's a little bit more conservative than I would have liked. I don't think his calls were necessarily wrong yesterday outside of the one that he did kick. But, you know, Mike was a pretty big, aggressive fourth down guy. And we just come from that, and now it's a little bit less, it seems.
Raise your hand, not if you're driving. Text in, not if you're driving. If you got fooled. I got fooled. You better put your hand up fast because you said they would go undefeated towards the end. And I think you got fooled during the Chiefs-Philadelphia run. I got fooled into thinking that a miracle finish could happen. I got fooled into thinking that the defense could approach average. I got fooled into thinking that the Marshawn Nealon thing could really stick with them throughout the rest of the season and hope that Philadelphia drops 2 more games, that Jackson Dart and the Buffalo Bills would get the Eagles. I got fooled by the Dallas Cowboys yet again. So twice. I think I've personally been fooled this year after the Jets game, but I really got fooled during what I felt like was becoming a magical run that the Lions quickly shut down and then the Vikings slammed the door on yesterday. So I was fooled.
Yeah. I mean, I never, because there was some of this that I know we saw in the fan text and other things of just well, you guys sit here talking about them like they're going to win the Super Bowl. It's like, no, nobody did. We were all talking about it's going to be difficult to make the playoffs. We just thought they had become a better football team was all. They're not as good as they appeared to be 2 weeks ago. They're not. And so the biggest thing that's upsetting to me is that right now the pass rush doesn't look like it had like a lot of this is you're looking like the way you did earlier. The pass rush was the thing that was supposed to have gotten better. Ezeraku was supposed to be improving. Clowney was playing well. Now Clowney was out last week, but you were starting to see Clark playing better. Odigizua, Quinnen was unstoppable early on, and that is starting to kind of get a little stagnant.
We get fooled every year. Every year we get fooled. Every year we get fooled by this team. We think it's going to be different, but the reality is that this team does not do two things well.
Two things.
That's it.
Well, they're major. These are the two. They don't beat good teams on the road, and they don't beat teams they're not familiar with enough. That's the reality of it. I don't know why. I don't know why that is. I assume most teams are more comfortable playing their own division anyway, and they see those teams twice a year, every year. But this team, again, I said this going into after last week, they are 3-12 in their last 15 road games against teams with winning records. That can't happen. Now, I'm not saying you got to be 10-4.
Yeah.
All right. But 3-12, what are we doing here? That's not competitive championship caliber football. But they do it the same way every year. Every year they do it the same way.
Now what? 877-881-1053. I was okay with foregoing the draft pick and punting it in the middle of the season and even over the last 3 weeks. Right now, the draft was today. The Cowboys would pick at 14 and then the Green Bay selection at 23. What I wish and would love to happen is they lose all their remaining games. Now, Jerry's going to come on here tomorrow, and Shoddy's going to go at the podium, and Dak is going to say, there's a chance we fight to the death, and, we're alive. And there is a 1% literal chance. So they're going to lose to the Chargers. I'll get that Friday prediction out of the way. They'll lose to the Chargers, and then what's going to happen against the Giants and the Commanders? So my hope is that they lose every single game left. Now, what is going to happen? They're going to play Dak Prescott against Los Angeles.
Oh, man, give me the Joe Milton experience, baby.
If they're officially eliminated, hopefully, although last year they did not do it, and there's been plenty of it's like they were scared to expose themselves on Trey Lance. When Trey Lance should have been out there playing to help the draft pick, and there's no reason not to, they did not put Trey Lance out there. Will they do the same thing with Joe Milton? Will Lamb, Quinnen, what starters will see the sideline this week or if they lose to the Chargers? But I'm hoping that they lose out. I'm not holding on to this 1% crap, and I'm hoping get Dak Prescott on that sideline. And I would love for them to bench him this week. They're not going to do it.
They're not going to do it, but they could be eliminated right before they play.
Oh.
Yes, right? If Philadelphia wins, Philadelphia plays on Saturday.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So if Philadelphia beats the Commanders, they're out.
Yeah, because the Cowboys are officially eliminated from wild card contention.
Right. So now.
And Philly would have to lose all the rest of the games, so if Philly wins.
So Philly wins, they're out. Now, I will say this.
If they were smart, too, by the way, sorry to cut you off. If Philadelphia wins Saturday, the really smart thing, forget about the draft pick, you better keep Dak Prescott's ass on the bench. And do not screw up. You got one of the other heartbreaking things about this year, you got lucky with his health, and you still missed.
Yes.
We all would have bet money that Dak Prescott would have missed games.
Right.
Money in the bank.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. Don't F around. Don't screw around. I thought he had a fantastic season. Keep his ass on the bench. And that's why I hope Philadelphia goes ahead and wins.
Now, the reality is that if Philadelphia wins, this is what the coaches will say. We prepared all week for Dak. We're not going to – this is too late to make a change.
Right.
So they'll do it and if they do it like that and they say that, I'm not going to argue with the intricacies of preparing your team to play a football game. If that's the reality, that's the reality. But if they get eliminated on Saturday night, and because Philadelphia wins, they play Dak Sunday, fine. The following week, they can't. You give them like a one game, all right, I get it, it's too late to change. That's it. Other than that, Joe Milton.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll take the other side just from this, because this is the argument that they're going to make. They'll specifically even address this once they're eliminated. Is that Shoddy's going to say, we're trying to build a championship culture here, and we're not going to get that started off in the first year building a foundation on we just packed it in at the end of the season. That's not what we're about. It's running out the ground ball to first base. He's going to be very big on that, and he's going to be saying, I can't sit here and tell them compete every day, compete every day, compete every day, and that's what you're supposed to do from the summer all the way up till now, and then I tell you guys to just go ahead and you've got a hamstring, you're going to sit out, and you're going to do this. He would just feel like that's completely undermining the way that he talked to the team for the entire time.
Well, fine. Then the rest of the guys can go out while Dak sits. Whoop-de-doo, go out and play.
Right.
Have fun.
And develop Joe Milton. See what you got in Joe Milton. Develop Joe Milton.
You know what I'll say back to Brian Schottenheimer? Did you see the Chiefs highlights? You want next year to be done and over with if something bad happens with a guy that we thought was injury-prone? And I know Dak's going to demand to go out there. Don't screw around with next season. Dak Prescott is a guy you can, I believe you can feel really good about right now. Don't mess around. Don't screw around. You want to play Lamb? Fine. You want to play Pickens? Fine. You want to play Quinnen? Fine. Go ahead and play him. Get Dak Prescott off the field.
So
and that will be enough to also tank and get a higher pick.
When fans were rolling their eyes initially at all the compete and we're playing basketball, we're doing hoops and all that stuff. When fans over the summer were kind of like, a few were like, oh, this is so corny or whatever. And then they started the buy-in and everything else. That's what I think Shotty and Dak together, because they are tied together at this job.
Yeah.
Like they're essentially, to me, they're co-running the team. It's the two of them running the team.
Okay.
So they're going to be in lockstep and say it makes it all the easier for any player that maybe had that same sort of eye-rolly feeling to then go, he doesn't even mean it. He wrapped it up the end of it's a credibility thing to him.
You can compete when the game is live. The game's over. I'm not yelling at you, Bobby.
No, I know.
The game's done. And I've never made fun of Shoddy for over corniness. I believe in that culture stuff. I believe it in this building, every other building. I roll my eyes and would make fun of it then. Like, business has to win out over that crap in this moment, if they're officially eliminated. They're alive and fine. You prepare all week, and I get it. Yeah. You don't want to throw Joe Milton to the Wolves because Dak is going to prepare to play all that stuff against the Chargers. But after that, you're out. You're officially eliminated. You competed while things were live, and there was a prize. You're out of it. You're done. So all that culture stuff, that's bye-bye, and we preserve our $60 million man for the games that count next year.
I've heard Dak say similar things to this before. Dak is also going to say, Ryan Flanoy, if Ryan Flanoy has an escalator in his contract that he's banking on in the last game of the year, if George Pickens is out there trying to get paid, I'm not going to throw him film out there with Joe Milton.
Dak, you're a great dude. You're a great guy. It doesn't matter. It's not your call. Go throw him some money. Ryan Flanoy has his tape. It's not your decision.
If Shoddy felt that way, but he doesn't. He agrees with that thought.
We don't know yet. Brian Schottenheimer should also worry about his job status.
No, I know.
Now I'm putting a low percentage, knock on wood, that something happens to Dak. But something happens to Dak Prescott, all of a sudden Brian Schottenheimer, that future hot seat, it's warm. It starts getting warm because next year you're screwed, unless you want to call Phillip Rivers.
Gentlemen, welcome to the program. How the heck we doing? And how the heck is everybody out there doing? Because I'm kind of pissed off.
Okay, so you're there right now.
Yes.
Somebody asked me to do everything I can to enrage you today.
Do you think that was about John Cena or the Cowboys? I'm definitely angrier about the Cowboys. I was fine with the way this.
I wish I was angry about it. I'm just not. I'm resided to what this season is.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying, the beginning of this year, they told us what they were. Our defense is going to be some patchwork free agents that we got on the cheap, and Eberflus is going to coach them up. And the scheme, we'll scheme pressure. We'll scheme in a scheme that needs pressure from 4 instead of a scheming pressure. And so I kind of just, early in the season, it was after the Bears game, I was like, oh, man, that looked atrocious. And there are even in the offseason, Kevin, we were telling you, there are too many holes for this team to fill.
Yes.
And then we were like, oh, that Pickens move was great. That's awesome. If it works out, it was a big gamble for a lot of fans. And I don't know, it looked great last night.
Yeah.
But I'm not mad because Except for, I guess I'm mad that they tried to trick me midway through the season.
Exactly. And that is probably why I'm mad as well, is because...
And not Jerry trying to trick me.
Yeah.
Like, we understand when we talk with Jerry. The team was like, hey, guys, we might be good. And you're like, what?
It reminds me of a couple of years ago where everything fell into place and you were the number 2 seed and you just had to win the games you'd be favored in to make it to the NFC Championship game. And then we'll see what happens. Is like the Eagles were trying to be like, we will self-destruct and lead the way for you. And even with that in mind, the Cowboys couldn't do it. Because if you go back to the beginning of the season, I think I said 9-8. And then once they traded Micah, maybe I was like, 8-9. You know, like the record isn't shocking. It's just agitating because it feels like everyone around you or everything around you was like, hey, playoff spots there if you want it. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, the Cowboys were like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, they didn't. This was a team in the Vikings.
The Vikings
that had nothing to play for.
Yeah, and the Vikings suck.
They had nothing to play for except for next year. Actually, they probably should have not gone out and won last night for position in the draft.
Right.
And they did. There's no playoffs ahead of them, and you couldn't beat a team that had nothing to play for. Yeah. That's frustrating.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And a team that's just, they're not good. And I get the logic, well, if they beat the Cowboys and they're not good, what does that make the Cowboys? Like, I definitely understand it. And if we have to tap on the chart again, we definitely can. But I'm not here to dispute that whatsoever. I think the Cowboys peaked at mediocre this year. That was the best they ever got, was mediocre. But for most of the season, it feels like they've sat in sub-mediocre. Mm-hmm, and to kind of see it end in that spot, that makes sense to me, actually.
It does make sense to you?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make it any less annoying, but it makes sense to me. I always thought this was going to be, like, can we go back to something specifically with the Jerry interview weeks and weeks ago? I always thought, and I thought rational people looking at this season always should have known this is not the season. And that was my biggest issue with the Quinnen Williams trade. Not that he is not an excellent player, and he has shown that he is still an excellent player. I just didn't understand why you were making a move to potentially salvage a season that I already thought was lost. But I understand with Quinnen, at least he can be around after this, so I can accept that. But, like, this season was never going to turn out super well.
Okay, so then Kenny Clark, that's still a lot of people last night that I was talking to were like, I'd love to have him back. And you kind of were pointing out, like, this doesn't cost you anything if you cut bait with him.
Exactly.
But if you keep him around, how much is that going to cost you? Like, I'm trying to figure that number out still.
My guess would probably be $12 million. Okay. And I know people are going to be like, well, he's under contract. Yeah, but there's no guaranteed money on that contract, so you can bail or renegotiate or
manipulate it.
Exactly. You can do whatever you want with that.
And then like the way, one of the things Mickey talked about with this, Kevin, last week everybody kept texting and Dak eats against blitz.
Yeah.
And yes, Dak does eat against blitz. And I kept saying consistently, I felt I was very consistent about this, Alec, if you want to correct me. I felt like I kept saying that's fine. Flores has a different approach.
Yeah.
And Mickey added an element to it that I didn't have, but I was like, watch it play out. And it did play out last night. And that was, whenever the blitz is happening, your tackles, your offensive line have to see the same thing that Dak is seeing. And it looked like they guessed wrong multiple times last night. And that was frustrating because there were plays that I'm sure Dak was like, man, I had everything on that throw. That I had the route, we beat the safety, we had what we needed, but the freaking tackle missed his guy, or the chip didn't come from the tight end at the right time, and so that turned into, well, we're going to have to go for field goals instead of touchdowns, which this team has proven again. You can't kick field goals with this defense.
Yeah.
You can't punt 3 times with this defense. You have to score touchdowns over and over and over, or you are nothing.
Yeah.
And this defense last night even had a linebacker guessing on the goal line. So that is frustrating. It was a frustrating game because J.J. McCarthy's not that good, but he's gritting into the end zone in your face, and you walk away from it going, what was it all for?
Yeah, and I understand this question. I really do.
Ask it.
From the 812. Everyone on the fan picked them, more or less, picked them to win between 7 and 9 games. Why is everyone so upset? Because, that's the beauty of sports, right?
Yes.
Is that it could go a different way.
We picked the Rangers in 2023 to be a hopefully break even that year.
Yes.
And everybody was like, next year would be the year.
Yes.
But hopefully they'll be good. And then they won the damn World Series and surprised everybody.
Yeah.
So then the next year we were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. We brought pretty much the same team back. And they didn't even sniff the playoffs.
See, and so we've made this comparison before. Mike made it a year or so ago, just get super into music instead of the heartbreak that comes along with sports. Yeah. But if you think about it, if you go to a concert or you go to a play or whatever, they might give you a different set list or they might make some different choices. But for the most part, the general direction that the concert is going to take, more or less. The general idea of how the play is going to go, more or less. And that is one of the beautiful things, but mostly agitating in this case with the Cowboys, about sports is I can think they're going to go 9-8 or 8-9 or whatever, and then you can break off an incredible season where all of a sudden all these people were clicking, or you stayed healthy, or these players played above their head, or whatever, and you go on that magical run.
Shotty did actually build a culture that turned everything around.
Like you did with the Rangers in 2023. And so I think that's why it's still irritating, is because even going into last night, I had convinced myself, and I still think rightfully so, that the Eagles were there to self-destruct. And so if you were breaking off a winning streak, you could still say, hey, we won 4 straight going in the playoffs, blah, 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 blah. And none of that happened, and you faltered at the very first hurdle. And all of that, I think, is why it's disappointing.
Oh, yeah, and you should be disappointed. And Steven, I do wonder where they are right now mentally. Are they disappointed? Or are they like, no, we still have a shot?
Yeah.
With that 1%, we still got it. It's just going to be, you hate having somebody else having control of your life. And the Philadelphia Eagles currently have control of your playoff lives, and that's not what you want.
Right.
But it happened a couple games ago. So you were already living with that, and you had everything to fight for. Everything in the world to fight for last night, and you rolled over and said, you know what, we're done. Kevin, the other thing, though, is I want this to be promised for we'll do the autopsy at the end of the year, right?
Sure.
And we'll sit down and look at Shotty and go, I think it was a success for him in here first year. Mm-hmm. And then you look at Ben Johnson and you go, well, hold on, what about that success? Did he have more talent? Is he a better coach? And so you go, okay, what else needs to happen? We'll do that autopsy, but right now I want to look at it and say you're building to something. But it just feels very status quo for this franchise.
So, okay, I'm really interested in what you just said because, there's a chance your season is officially over. I think we all know it's over. But it's officially over before you even take the field again because Philly plays on Saturday. So if they win that game on the road against the Commanders, then it's a wrap. But somebody said, hey, playing spoiler can be fun, and I get that. I think a lot of what happens in this next 3 games will probably give some more definition to whether or not this was a success for Schottenheimer, because I see the potential for success, absolutely. But if you go out and just captain give up the next 3 games and then 6-10-1, I just don't see any way you can argue that this season was a success. But I know for a lot of people, they've probably already defined it as a failure because you're not going to the playoffs.
And that is kind of one of the questions I'd like to ask Stephen Jones today. And Kevin, you've been in situations where the chips are down and you're looking around the room trying to kind of check people out and see how they respond.
Yep.
And whenever he's looking around the room right now, what kind of character is he looking for?
Yeah.
Because next year, now's the time to start judging for next year. sure, man, if all the chips are down right now and these guys go out there and they ball out for the last 3 games and they give it their all, then you start thinking, okay, we saw something out of those guys. And there's some guys that you're like, I'd like to have that person back next year because of what the effort that they gave whenever there really was nothing left to fight for except for themselves. And they went out and did it. They fought for their coach. They fought for those are the things that I'm looking for at the end of the year, but the whole time you're like, is it for nothing? No, it's not, because there is more. But that's what doesn't it feel like that's the Cowboys? All right, it's always about, you can just put that thing back in the vein and we'll get through next season, we'll get through this off season, and that's kind of where I am.
So I think something that's a little bit fascinating along those lines then. Do you have a player on the team? I'm just asking this question. Do you have a player on the team that fits exactly what you want and is trying to get back out on the field every which way he can, but you're like, no, you can go ahead and keep sitting on the sidelines? In Trayvon Diggs? I know Trayvon Diggs has missed time because of injury, and I hear all of that. And there was plenty of reasons that the Cowboys had some issues with him. Seems like he's tried not on the field, but off the field to turn that around, and on the practice field to turn that around. And he's trying to get on the field, and the Cowboys have come up with new and exciting reasons for why he's not on the field. And the reason is, like, if we're going to just cut to the chase, I believe the reason is the Cowboys have already essentially cut him, and they know what a huge savings that can bring the team next year, and they don't want him to go back on the field because if he gets hurt again, that complicates the matter.
Do you think it's just the financial purpose of it, though?
Yes.
You don't think it has anything to do with the personality purpose of it?
I don't anymore. I think that's why it was a lot of the time. But I think we've reached a point now where he's gotten that stuff in line, and they're like, too late. Which
is fair.
Yeah, I get it.
It is very fair where you're asking a guy to do something, show up to the facility and work and do your thing, and he's like, no. And then you finally trade his friend, and he's like, crap. Well, I don't even know if I want to be part of this anymore. And then I don't know that that's necessary, but there are things that you already gave him the chances, and maybe you did give him chances before. You gave him the benefit of the doubt before, and it just didn't work out. And so you're like, you know what? And maybe even the head coach is like, I don't know if I want that in my culture.
Yeah.
That's not the kind of mentality. And Kevin, guess what? I will say that head coach, he did observe this group for a while. And so he kind of knew what he was looking for in some of his leaders, and maybe that wasn't it all along. So I understand what you're saying there, but it might be too little too late. From the 8-3-2, y'all are acting like this wasn't a rebuild year. Jimmy's second year wasn't good either. We knew this year would turn out this way, but for every win, for some reason, all of us believed they were going to the Super Bowl. We didn't think Super Bowl. But really what he did was endured a season making it exciting while stacking wins. Successful season and building for the future. And
Also,
that's not what I'm looking for. At this point, I'm not looking for building for the future. Jerry tells us that all the time. That's not I don't have time to have a bad time. I don't have that much time to be able to say, you know what, I'm just going to sit around and wait for the future with this thing. They're telling us they want to win now. And so this wasn't a rebuild. I mean, you did rebuild. But that's not what this was for. You're always in win mode. That's what the expectation is for this franchise. They set that.
And I also have a huge issue with that setup. Like, did they not hear when we said we didn't expect the Cowboys to be that good this year? And also, that is a really inaccurate comparison to Jimmy. Jimmy's first year, they went 1-15. In the second year, they jumped up to 7-9. That's a 6-game improvement. As it stands, the best you can improve now is a game and a half. And also, that Cowboys team broke in a brand new quarterback, where you've had the exact same highest paid quarterback in the league. So I don't agree with that comparison at all.
In the past, in essentially what should have been a rebuild year was 2 years ago. Last year.
Yeah.
Like the last 2 seasons now, one, you were basically telling the head coach, we know you're on your way out. We're not giving you anything that's going to help you be successful this year. So, we'll finish this season out with your contract. Good luck. And then this year was supposed to be the turnaround for that. So that's 2 seasons in a row that you've said, we're not giving you all the tools that you need.
Yeah.
Defensively, this team didn't get it this year, and you saw it pay off on the field last night.
And one of the issues, I will fight this battle battle forever, and it goes back to the discussion that we had with Jerry when he was like, well, would you rather us not won those games? And I said, yes, that is exactly what I wish you would have done. That's never going to happen. Like, I don't think you're ever going to get the full rebuild while Jerry is still running the show. And for all the people who are like, sell the team, it's not going to happen. Steven's up next. Like, that's just the way it is.
Hey, kids! Your old pal Krusty's gonna teach you 5 new words.
You're not wrong about that.
From Dallas, Texas, number 55, Brian Broaddus.
Thank you very much, Lucis. Appreciate you playing that. Thank you very much to Greystone as well for being a part of this as well, too. Dawson, to give you your numbers about the Vikings defense coverage types.
Yeah.
I know you were talking about cover 0.
Yeah.
They played cover 2 on 43.9% of the dropbacks. Dak was 10 of 16 for 165 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. That was right about 10.3 yards a completion with 62.5 on the completion percentage. He was sacked 2 times, though, in that cover 2 look. Cover 0, which is the blitz look with no safeties in the middle of the field, 19.5% is what they played. Dak was 5 of 8 for 35 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He averaged about 4.4 yards per pass versus that. And then the cover 3 was at 17%. He was 4 of 7 for 46 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Yards per attempt was 6.6. So they kind of threw a lot of different coverages. They also played a cover 6. They played cover 4. They played cover 1 as well in this football game. So I was going to ask you guys something too, and this is just an observation. Wolch, great job of your kind of going after them a little bit for the things that you saw.
Bringing it back to the Joneses.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah.
Very important.
I'd like to say something about the defense and Matt Eberflus. And this just shows up on tape. And when you sit down and have the opportunity to watch it, and you talk about the lack of pass rush, and you're thinking, oh, blitz, do this, do that. Even when he rushes 4, there are times where he doesn't rush his rushers.
Oh, yeah, he's dropping rushers into coverage.
I don't know how you can create pressure. I don't know how you can create pressure when you watch Ezaraku drop, you watch Clowney drop, you watch Fowler drop, you watch Williams drop. I don't know. I don't know how, and you wonder, like, well, why are they not getting any pressure? What's the problem? Well, he's got his edge rushers dropping, like his best edge rushers. And by the way, these guys can't finish when they get in the pocket anyway. That's been a big, big problem. You'll see that on tape, too, when you sit down and watch it. But it's really, really hard to generate pressure when you don't rush your rushers.
Yeah.
Somebody else is rushing.
Mm-hmm. They've leaned too hard into bend but don't break.
Yeah.
When the defense was at its low moment, Shoddy talked about, we're trying to cut out the big plays first.
Right.
And I don't think they ever pivoted from that. It hasn't been much of a talking point, but I think they've decided that we can make them try to move the ball down the field 10 yards at a time and ultimately frustrated, but that's not working out.
No.
Yeah. That you're
not good enough in coverage.
Yeah, that you could force, like, we'll make them drive the ball, they'll make a mistake.
Eventually he'll turn it over.
Yeah.
And it's not going to work without pressure.
And that guy was turning it over at an alarming rate for Minnesota.
Yeah, the one time he turned it over, you blitzed him.
Yeah. But, yeah, if you're going to – and by the way, the 4th and 3 play, you tell me you're going to rush 3 on that play?
Oh, I know.
And they looked a little confused.
So he goes he tries like basically clog and cover, but the Vikings run everything at the sticks. So they're kind of there's no pressure on this quarterback to all the 3 rushers are actually pinned to the left side of the offense. So all he has to do, he's got everything is materializing in front of him to the right. There's nothing to the left for him to go over and throw to and say, oh, all their routes are to the right. Mm-hmm. And so now he just slides over a little bit, and then he kind of waits the situation. And Naylor, he's on our rookie on the rookie there on Ravel, and you're like, Ravel's kind of got him matched up at the sticks.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got guys plastered across.
But McCarthy's got all day, so he can just pivot out. And
Well, Naylor just turns up.
Yeah, and then Naylor just turns.
Yeah.
Naylor just so you got the guy plastered, and then all of a sudden Naylor feels like, uh-oh, this is not going to work out good for all of us over here. And he just pivots out.
Because you gave him that much time,
and
right?
Ravel is just off and running. I mean, he's past him, and Ravel's having to catch up on it. But initially, he was in a really, really good position to make a play because they're all playing it at the sticks, but they were probably hoping for that McCarthy was just going to try and fit it in there. He was going to make a panic throw. Mm-hmm. But there's no reason to panic if you're just sitting there waiting for somebody to break open.
Right.
And that's the unfortunate thing right there. But, 4th and 3, and the rookie gives up a big play. Initially, the rookie was in great shape, but your coordinator didn't help. He rushes 3, and plus he rushes everybody to one side. There's nothing coming. There's nothing in McCarthy's face to make him have to do anything.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Just cleanest pocket you could ever imagine.
Cleanest pocket you can ever imagine. You're absolutely right about that. And by the way, the Vikings were in a situation last night, too, where they didn't play Darrisaw at left tackle, and they played School over there. Oh, jeez. He didn't give up a pressure. And there's a guy that when you watch Minnesota tape, when he had to play early in the season, like he played the first 2 games for Darrisaw, and then comes in and plays occasionally because Darrisaw's knee is not good. And I told you they max protect or helped him over there with some of that. But when he had some one-on-one stuff, nobody was winning over there. Nobody was winning.
No.
And that's another issue itself. All right, let's talk about some of the things I saw on the offensive side of the ball. I really do believe that when Hunter Lipke and Williams both were out of the game or both nicked up and weren't able to play, Williams came back. I mean, they probably did something to him at half, built his pads up, gave him a shot, whatever they had to do.
Came out running the ball kind of nice.
Yeah, but having Malik Davis in there as a blitz pickup guy.
There was one where off the right edge where he just gets totally taken back.
Yeah. Man, credit Hunter. Like, why haven't they been using Hunter Lipke?
They just want to pay him and just let him chill. It's so bizarre.
Like, he showed you he's got ability to not only catch the football, run the football. Like, and he had to do that in North Dakota State, and he was kind of a one-man band.
He was heating up last night right as the time he got hurt. It was unfortunate.
It looked like it could have been the Lipke breakout.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing, I just felt like, though, that he was going to be a big part of what they were going to do. Him and Williams were going to be the blitz pickup guys. But all of a sudden, when they're out, then having Davis in there, that's just that wasn't good business for the Cowboys. I'll say this though, when this is how dialed in Minnesota was defensively. You remember they tried to screen pass to Hunter Lipke? Mm-hmm. And so when Hunter Lipke, you see, like, Van Ginkel is going to have a free rush. He's going to have a free run on Dak. But they're screening this thing out the left side. So they're kind of thinking, like, teams run these screens against Minnesota thinking, like, oh, they're blitzing, we can get it out, we can make big plays. That's kind of something you think about. Well, Dallas is in a situation where they're going to screen it to Hunter Lipke. Minnesota's playing man coverage. It's Harrison Smith. And Harrison Smith has been blitzing the whole game. Like he's been walking up and blitzing. So you're thinking, we're going to get Harrison Smith here. We're going to throw a screen to his side, and we're just going to flip it over there and let Hunter Lipke run. As soon as Van Ginkel, he's coming on the pressure, Dak slides, they throw it to Hunter Lipke. Guess who's standing there waiting for him? Harrison fakes like he's going to blitz, and then plays in coverage, plays man coverage. That just shows you, like, you would kill if your defense would play with that kind of awareness or play with that kind of being that locked in. Hey, I'm going to show you I'm going to blitz. I'm going to act like I'm going to blitz, and you're probably going to throw the screen over here to this guy, and I'm going to play man coverage.
Be the aggressor
on him. It was amazing how many times Minnesota was able to do things where the pressure and stuff like that was, you talk about. I mentioned Davis. One of the pressures, he gets overpowered. He got overpowered by the linebacker Eric Wilson. I mean, just run over. And so, but Dak gets the ball off to CeeDee Lamb in the end zone, but that's when CeeDee kind of falls down over there. But that shows you again here, maybe they're trying to get the ball to Lamb, but they can't get the protection because the back that's normally in there to do it. We've seen plenty of times where Williams has been the guy that has like cleaned up. And I think that's why they had so many of the pressures and stuff last night, is because Williams, when this offensive line is not good enough, Williams cleans up a lot of the mess. He's able to identify where he needs to go and come across the pocket or step up and make a play. But last night was just that was tough. That was a tough situation. There's the sack situation that Dak had. He's got to step up again. Van Ginkel is coming on this blitz, and because Steele lets him inside. So now he's beat on the play. And so now on the other side, you get Thomas loses his guy. So now Dak's kind of in a situation right now where he's trying to step up, but there's nowhere. It's collapsing on him because you're two tackles. And this is where Williams and those guys have kind of been able to clean up when these tackles miss a blitz or miss a rusher or let somebody through. Then Dak is able to. But Dak, there were times last night, and you mentioned this, Wolchuk, where Dak drifted into pressure. His pocket awareness on a couple of these passes wasn't where it needed to be. And Dak has been pretty good with that. He's been able to kind of navigate where he needs to be. Okay, I need to stand here. Oh, I need to step up. Oh, I need to make a throw. There were a couple of times there where he just kind of was eyes downfield. He's waiting, but he's drifting. And he drifts into his tackles trying to block, and then those guys having problems.
Yeah, when it's been good, he has not done that. When it was bad at Arizona, Denver, and then last night, he's kind of contributing to the pressure problems.
Yeah. Well, they like I said, I think their plan was to try and let the furthest guy from the ball go, and I think it caused them some problems because the Vikings did a pretty damn good job of covering up your guys in the secondary. There were a couple of times where Pickens was open, but just the opportunity, there was just too much pressure for Dak to get him the ball.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.